Hello, everyone watching us. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for joining the third edition of the Expert Talk of the Food E-Show. We have with us a great panel from 3 continents. And with us, we have Leah. Hi, Leah. She
Hello.
is currently in
Hi.
Indonesia. I don't know which island. Which island are you at? Are you in right now, Leah?
I'm at Nusa Penida Island. It's just beside Bali. Yeah. So thank you for
All
having
right.
me.
So she is known for Oli, and she's Aulia Halimatussadiah. She's the co-owner and chief content officer of Zeta Media Network. Zeta Media Network is a digital media network focusing on building inspiring stories from real people for millennials in Indonesia.
Yeah, I'm
He
actually
helped
right.
shape right.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Continue.
Go for it.
Continue. Yeah.
Go. Do you wanted to add something?
No. I'm right now the co-founder and CMO at Storyal. So that's like my current job right now. Yeah. Huda.
I was
Yeah.
getting there, but you got me early.
Yeah.
I want to mention something very interesting. I want
Yes.
to mention something interesting other than the Storia, which is a story sharing platform that allows writers to collaborate online in chapters. But you already wrote 28 books. Or was that
30.
more?
30 now. 30
Oh,
books
wow.
now.
Oh, wow. Great. She wrote 30 books, and she will share with us what's her secrets, but that's for another time. Thank you, Leah, for joining us today.
Thank you, Huda. Thank you so much for having me.
And from the UK, we have Manny Hanif. Manny is a marketing consultant who helps and coaches consultants and info sellers grow and scale their businesses using Facebook advertising mainly. Manny has coached over thousands of students across the world and has spoken at events all around the world and also has been featured on TV and radio. He has spent an excess of $1 million on Facebook advertising and has managed to become one of the leading Facebook ad marketers. Wonderful, Manny. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Yeah, it's nice to join the panel. I'm in the UK at the moment. It's actually dull. It's raining, as always in the UK. So I've been sort of really looking forward to this actually. So what I do in terms of my sort of consulting, I run a consulting business where I work with coaches and consultants that want to generate leads. My main focus has always been social media marketing, and in the first sort of focal point being Facebook advertising. So it's going really well, and I'm really looking forward to share a lot of insights.
Great. Thank you, Manny, for accepting our invitation. And last but not least, Hassan Anbar, who is the chief strategist and founder of Bright Leads Media, working in B2B marketing. His agency specializes in helping small and medium-sized businesses with their SEO, which is search engine optimization, marketing strategies, and B2B lead generation. On average, his clients report 30 to 45% increase in revenue after implementing a solid SEO strategy combined with email marketing. Thank you very much, Hassan, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I mean, it's a pleasure to be part of this panel, and yeah, and I'm looking forward to giving as much of what we know to the people watching today.
Great. My comment is for the audience who was watching us on Facebook and YouTube. Please make sure you interact with our great panelists. You can always send your comments on the comment side, and it will show on our end. General question for all of you: how important is digital marketing, and what for you is digital marketing? Who would like to
Hassan?
go first? Okay. Go for it, Manny.
Manny, maybe.
Okay, so for me, digital marketing has always been very important. From the moment I entered a university classroom in 2008, things were growing. digitally. I used to sort of look forward to the lectures and seminars of e-marketing, and I knew that many years later on, digital marketing, especially online advertising, would overtake the traditional advertising. So for me, it's the single most important medium now. I actually spend more time online than I would watching TV or consuming content watching TV. Digitally, we've got obviously for me, everything is evolving at a rapid rate every single year. So what you would see last year would be an extension of what we would see next year. For example, holograms and augmented reality will be implemented. So for me, it's important, and I just see more growth opportunities digitally. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm always embracing digital technology, and that's why I'm right now in a position I am thanks to digital marketing. And for me, I've always had a passion, and I'm a bit of a geek as well. So it always works both ways.
Great. Hassan?
Yeah, for me,
Yeah, Aulia, you wanted to go?
yeah, for me, I'm coming from technology background, but then I'm always interested in literature. That's why I'm always in the content marketing side of this, right? For me, digital marketing is basically like showing what your product is all about, and then really get to know who's your audience is, and then really like targeting the right people and talking to the right people with the right messages, and then amplify it with digitally, right? We have a lot of ways to basically get to the customer through social media, emails, SEO, like what we're going to talk about today. So it's very important. Why? Because we can go to niche markets and target, talk to them and target them well, and then of course we can have our own KPIs, and we can measure it, and in the end we can really see the results, right? And it's a lot cheaper to do it. So I think it's super important right now. Like there's no way we don't do it. Like right now it's the right time to do it. Like everybody goes online, right? Yeah, that's for me.
Okay.
Okay. Well, for me,
Hassan?
yeah. Okay. So what the way I look at it is that digital marketing is, it's the way of the future. It's we might as well be. I mean, we are right now in August 2020. We might as well be in 2025 because of the changes, the rapid changes that have been happening. Especially with the COVID crisis. The amount of people or the amount of businesses that have been kind of rushing to kind of create an image, or at least just save their businesses because they're not online is huge. So the growth that we've seen, for me, at least as an agency, the amount of demand that's been rushing through our doors for the people that need to start marketing their businesses online is just huge. I mean, it's been growing really slowly since the year 2000 and up until 2020. But with the crisis, what would have taken 5 years has taken 5 months. And we're talking about e-commerce businesses, we're talking about brick and mortar businesses, we're talking about people who are online and offline. Everybody needs, if you want to get to any kind of audience, whether it's a general audience or a specific niche audience, you have to be online, and you have to have a good, digital marketing strategy. If you don't, then your business is probably gonna be, gonna go out of business soon. So it's very important to have a good marketing strategy right now.
So if I understand it right, social media, digital marketing is the way of the future, is the way of the past, let's say. It's been on for about 20 years so far, and it's moving very fast. And it's for all businesses. It doesn't matter if you have a tech company or you're selling services in a corner of Jam El Fna, which is like a very old square in Marrakesh. you have to be online because it's a necessity. That's where you target your clients. That's where you have all your niches, and that's where you can have your key performance indicators, and also do it for cheaper than other ways of doing business. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Yeah, great. So
Yeah.
this question is for Oli. Oli is how important is, I know that you know, since you've written so many books and you produce so much content, how important is the story in the social media or the future of digital marketing in general?
Yeah, it's super important because when you use story, you connect to people emotionally, right? And when and then in if you use story in your social media, your post will engage more with people, right? The more engagement you will get, the better chance that it will show in other people's timeline, and of course, the more reach you will get to people, the better conversion. We hope the better engagement, the better conversion to sales, right? So yeah, it's super important. I use it all the time, especially if you're selling products and services. It's really good to use stories, you know, like how people use your product, how they use it on everyday life, how it benefits them, you know. It's like a testimonials in some ways, and yeah, you should use it. You should use storytelling basically in all aspect of your social media, especially in social media posts or blogs, yeah, articles, and yeah.
Okay. So let's assume I'm a business. I just started a business. I started operating locally. I want to go into social media. What's my minimum requirements? Where should I start? What do I need? Manny or Hassan, what do you think is like? We're talking about people in general, but hopefully, if we can do it in like a food business, somebody who started an épicerie, like a fine product, which is locally, and when he wants to go online, what's the minimum requirement?
So basically, I'll just go over this. For basic storytelling, in if it's a normal person like has a market outside or a street stall, storytelling can be embedded. All they need is a Facebook page and a phone. Okay, the phone, they can take pictures because everything is so visual. People are browsing the Facebook news feed at such a rapid rate. Okay, and the way storytelling fits into it is every brand, every company, individual has a story. Okay, not just individuals. Individuals have backstories. Every company has a backstory. For example, if you just take a look at McDonald's, Pizza Hut, all these big brands, you will, if you notice, if you go to the websites, they'll have a story. So what really draws me in, what really fascinates me about storytelling is a normal sort of business, a small business, a jeweler, or a person selling a fruit stall in the market. Now, I've been to Morocco several times, and I've been fascinated with Jamal Fina Square and everything, and the way people are sort of selling stuff. If a person or an individual or a business wants to sort of take that business element online, all they've got to do is keep posting content, and sort of tell a story around it. And when people say storytelling, people automatically assume novels or stories like that. But the way storytelling is like a history of the business, what they stand for, what their values are, and all they need is to sort of go onto Facebook, go onto LinkedIn, go onto Twitter. You've got Instagram. I mean, Facebook itself has devoted a platform placement just towards stories. Now, I get a lot of views on my stories. I open my newsfeed on my phone. I always look forward to the stories. And the way people can sort of use stories is open up a Facebook account, whether on their profile, they can just keep posting stories every day on their pages. And if they do that on a regular basis, people will connect with that. And if you can connect with a brand in such a way, it will grow. It only means grow. So more and more companies are growing through the art of storytelling, and it's one of my favorite ways to actually market online.
Well, thank you, Manny, for this. Hassan, do you have something to add for like just be online and do some digital marketing?
Okay, well, the way I look at it, if you have an actual business, I mean, an offline business, if you call it, whether it be a fancy bakery or whatever, you have to have at least the basics. You have to have a Facebook page, an Instagram account. You might want to be on TikTok right now. It depends on where people are, and the more, especially if we're talking about food, the imagery is very important. I mean, the more fancy images you show, the more put like irresistible kind of recipes or whatever food that you put out, just so you can entice people to be interested in your store. So the more you put out, and I'm talking about starting out, you have to start out, especially on social media, you have to start out with paid advertising. And the other thing is collaborations, or what we like to call influencer marketing. Look for a few influencer marketers out there, especially in your local market, your local city, and have them visit your store, offer them either money or some other kind of compensation. And these two run in paid ads along with a little bit of influencer marketing, and will definitely help you get a lot more followers. Starting out as soon as you open these social media accounts, and also will definitely get you a few clients here and there. But then again, once you reach that level of having a few followers, having a few thousand followers, a few hundred followers, depends on what your market is. You want to kind of capitalize on that by creating some amazing kind of content out there to get even these followers that are just following you to share and get more of their friends involved in following your account, and then obviously come into your store, and that's how it starts. These are the basics of how to go ahead and get started and like in 2020. So yeah.
All right, great. So there's no big budget. Actually, anybody can do it. It's just that they have to put some thought into it, be authentic, and also, in my opinion, devote some time. Like, put it on your agenda and devote time for it, because this is how you're gonna draw people to you. This is your strategy. It's not something that you do as a luxury. It's a must in 2020. Do you agree with me, Aulia? It's like it's a must. It's no longer let's just be online. It's nice.
Yeah. No, yeah, no more an option. It's like a must. Yeah, everyone should.
Great.
Yeah.
So
No other way.
let's kick it up to another notch. These people are now on social media. They are already on social media personally. Now they're going to social media to their businesses. How about a website, and how SEO can help? Like, how important is a website nowadays, and for different types of businesses, and how SEO can help them? Hassan?
Okay. So for when you have a website, I mean, you have to have a website anyway, and you can get away with just running your digital marketing strategy when you're starting out without a website, just social media pages. But at some point, you have to have one, depending on what your market is. So let's say you're a fancy bakery, and the fancy bakery, it would be just very easy, very basic, just one-page website showing off your menu, showing off what you have. And also, in terms of SEO, if you're operating on a local market, as I say, let's say you're in a big city, let's say you're in London or maybe Birmingham, or you're in Bali or Jakarta, whatever you are, you want to optimize your website. And there are two ways to do it. You have to do it on the local SEO side, because that's a whole different kind of world. It's called local SEO. Optimizing the website for searches that are surrounded about your city. So somebody is typing in croissant in London. You want to come up, and now what the results that come up when you type in a city, and especially in the specialty, you don't see websites right off the bat. You see a map, and then the places, the three top places. So you want to optimize it's called Google My Business page. And when people click on it, they can either click to call you right from the Google searches, or they can type on directions to see where you're located. So you have to, in terms of SEO, you have to both have a website and have a Google My Business page, and optimize both of them. And optimization here was not really rocket science. It's very easy to do. You just have to put in the words in your copy, in the copy of your website, the text that's based on your website, that has to do with what people are looking for when they're looking for what you're selling, a service or a product that you're selling. It's not really rocket science. Just add as many images to your website if your product you're in the food industry, and that's pretty much it. It's very important. If you're not on Google, you pretty much don't exist, especially for people in the discovery stage, when they're actually researching products that like people who don't know you and they're looking for what you sell, then that's how they'll be able to find you. And that's pretty much how it's done.
Good. So if you're not, what I understand, if you're not on Google, you're nowhere to be found. And it's impressive because usually when I go, and I travel a lot, and when I go to different countries, I find all the information online. I can go like Chinese near me, and I will find like the closest Chinese, and it gives me the map and how to get there, and the menu and the prices and the open hours and all that, which is not obviously something that I can find in some other countries. And as they're not very social media oriented, Leah, do you think which countries are more? I think everybody's using their internet, everybody's using smartphones, and what would be your advice to people that do not yet exist on Google and exist on the web, let's say, for instance?
They need to be there. I mean, well, I'm not in the food industry. Like my company, Storyal.co, is a reading and writing platform, right? So for us, it's not as important to have us on, like our office, for example, right? And right now we are working from home, so we don't need to be there on the directory. But if you're on a food business, like Hassan said, you have to be there, and you have to be present on Google, so people can, like right now, for example, like I'm in Bali, like I don't know people around, and I don't know restaurant around. I just need to type on Google like the best restaurant near me, right? So, and then I don't know, Hassan, correct me if I'm wrong. Like how do Google like see, right, the like which one is the first, right? So maybe when you have your own website, and then you're good on social media, people talk about you, maybe people review you on their blogs, and mention you, maybe your rank will go up as well, right? So you have to do your homework in making sure your restaurant gets a lot of reviews on social media, and also on other people's websites and blogs, right? And also maybe video, Hassan, maybe on YouTube. Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, you're correct. You're right. I mean, what you said is correct. But if you're talking about a website, having other people mention you, other people on their websites, that actually helps to rank. But if you're talking about a Google My Business page, and I'm here talking specifically about small businesses that are related to the food industry, we're talking about having as many reviews as possible, and having a page that, it all comes down to customer service. If your product is good, your service is good, and people are impressed with what you're providing, then you're not going to have any issues with the technical side of things. Instead of just focusing on the technical stuff, you might want to just think about, again, you said it first, stories. Is there something why people would want to come? And the more people come, the more people kind of review, the more people, then the Google kind of notices those trends, and it will actually put your website up on the top.
yeah, I think Google also check the hashtags, right? Or like the location of the restaurant that the people put on maybe Instagram, right? I don't know about that, Hassan. Maybe I think that would be relevant too on Google.
Yes, that's also one of those things that are important on Google as well, as because they call it social signals. So if you have a good active Facebook page and a good active Instagram page, or anywhere else, that actually helps your website rank as well.
So I got a question from Jalal, and Jalal is the co-founder of the Food Issue, and he says the big challenge for companies starting on social media is content. So they usually don't have that much. What strategies do you suggest to generate quality content? And Manny, if you have anybody
Mm-hmm.
can answer, but Manny.
Yeah. Um, Basically, content is everything. To have a social media strategy, you can literally create content on almost anything. I mean, content in the form of videos, content in the form of images, content in the form of short, snazzy posts. It's nowadays it's all about engaging content, and the question is, how do you create engaging content? Okay, so strategy is number one. I mean, if you have engaging content in the form of images, and when people take images, they probably think, oh, I want to take a normal image. But you've got apps nowadays that can sort of put filters on your images, which will enhance the way they are presented online. Because I remember speaking to a guy the other day, and he said, um, it's nowadays when you post something online, it's all about visually appealing. Go on Instagram and browse all the different hashtags for different businesses, and you will notice enhanced images. Content can also be posted in the form of, for example, short reports about a company, short 1 or 2 paged articles, which can sort of link to a website. Now, Hassan mentioned, the use of websites is very important, which I 100% agree. A business without a website is like standing in the middle of the desert, just waving your arms. Everyone needs a website. So what strategy you can do is, if you have a piece of content on your website, you can post it on your Facebook page or your profile on social media, and then direct people to your website. Okay, so the big challenge for companies it's not content, it's not getting coming up with content, it's how to create engaging content. And the way you do this is by utilizing things like YouTube, utilizing things like blogs, because you can create content around a product or a service in such a way that people would engage. For example, let's say you are sort of running a food business, and your main sort of goal is to get people to sort of come into the restaurant. And how do you create content? Well, what you can do is do competitions. Everyone loves competitions. You can do sort of social events, local events, so people who can take part in sort of running marathons. The winner, they get a free meal, things like that. That's content. So what I do, just to sort of mirror what other people are doing, is I go to sort of different brands, big brands, and see how engaging that content is. And what I do, I just apply the strategies that they're using into my business. So I sort of take a bit of everything, a bit of what so and so is doing, and then I just apply it into my business. Okay, so that's how you create good quality content that's engaging. Because no one wants to see a boring post on social media where saying, "Hi, come to my shop. This is my website. This is my shop." That's boring. It's all about storytelling. It's all about engaging content, and then it's linking that content to your website as well. So you're sort of interlinking the two as well.
Thank you, Manny. Anybody else has
yeah,
something?
there's also a case. Yeah, there's also a case study of users generated content, right? Like, for example, restaurants here in Bali and some in Jakarta as well. They do like discounts for the customers that would post the picture with of the food with or the restaurant with specific hashtag, right? And then the more high quality, the better the discount, for example, right? Then you will get, like, for example, video contents, like IG story, Instagram stories content, or even TikTok contents, right? The better the more quality, the better the discount. So yeah, you will get a lot of and tons of high quality contents from your own users, and I think that would be more authentic.
I think what's kind of like to add to that is the use of hashtags in content. So when users create that content, I know a lot of companies, what they do, they promote one hashtag, and then they get people to sort of use that hashtag when they post an image or a piece of video. So it's very, I think, it's good that you touched up upon that, Aulia. So yeah, definitely agree. User generated content is very, very powerful, and then the use of hashtags can sort of get it, viral in a way, local viral in the local community. So definitely, I see that it's very important, and I see over the next few years, it's just going to be more and more user content as well.
So do you think user content? I agree with you on the user content because is it for social validation, or is it because it's not looked at as a promotional done directly by the company? So how is it more interesting than like a post coming from you?
I mean, it's more authentic, right? I mean, it's coming from users, and you don't need to produce it. Like if you need a lot of if you need a lot of contents, right, effortlessly, and then you will get a lot from your users. And in my company, all our contents are user generated, like in our website, right, in our storyal.co website. So we have 55,000 titles, book titles, users generated. So we don't produce it ourselves. Yeah. So we really know how to do this, and we are really happy doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also something. Sorry if it's the concept. The concept is called social proof. So the more people see other people are going to that restaurant, the more that it'll be encouraged to go see it. Just like if you go to a food court in a mall and you see KFC, and then right next to it you see Pizza Hut, and then you see McDonald's, and all of them are empty except for McDonald's. Then a lot of people are going to be like, okay, McDonald's it is, because everybody's just lined up there. I mean, that's just a random example, but the idea of social proof is that the more people, the more you see other people are praising it or talking about it, the more you want to try it.
Great. I want to come back to Aulia and 55,000 titles that you get your user to generate. What's your strategy? Because I see a lot of questions is like how to build an audience first. And Miriam is asking how to build an audience of social media. How were you able to build that audience that will generate the 55,000, posts?
Yeah. So we started with building community first. So we are almost 1 million followers in total on Twitter, and then we are building our following as well in community on Instagram, and then we have a funnel to create the community, the smaller community on WhatsApp group. So we're a community of readers and writers, right? So we created the community for readers, and the readers community we also categorize them, like the lover of romance lovers, thriller lovers, So the engagement, the sense of community and the activities that we're doing, it's the one thing that makes our community loyal to us, right? That's one. And then the engagement is become more, the engagement rates, it become higher and higher. People participate in our contents, and they're really looking forward to our events. And one of our events online is a writing competition online. So every single month we get hundreds and thousands of new contents on our website from this community that we've been building and nurturing for years. Yeah, so it's basically just creating a tribe of your own, So, for example, you can create a community of food lovers and Mexican food lovers, and people keep talking about how they love Mexican food and stuff. It doesn't need to talk about your restaurant, but at the end of the day, you can sell tortilla, right, to this community, right? So yeah, basically connect with your own community first before you can sell anything.
Okay, good advice. Create the community, connect with the community, then start selling, not start selling.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I want to go back to social media in general, and I know in social media there's different mediums, categories that some go in fashion. Snapchat. That's something that was never my thing, and I got into it for like 2 months and I couldn't stay. It was different things. It's like how important for companies to follow the trends, and how do you have a category for them? Like for B2B, you go to these. For B2C, you go to these. For technological products, you go for this. For food products, you go for that. Is there any category which mediums, which social media is important and not?
I'll answer that. Yeah. So
Manny?
basically, business to business. One of the key questions a lot of people ask is, which social media platform is relevant to my business? Okay. Now, if you ask this question back in 2012 or 11 about Facebook, whether it would be essential for a business, I would probably say no, because obviously the focus wasn't there. Facebook slowly built its sort of social media platform after catering for businesses. And for example, for LinkedIn, it was seen as for professionals only. Even that has evolved. So if you're a B2B business, for example, my sort of take is you need to be on all platforms, and mainly because is each social media platform or app that you have caters for your needs. So for example, you've got TikTok, you've got Instagram, and these social media platforms have evolved. So for example, Instagram, it started as a photo sharing app where people are taking images of things and then sharing them using hashtags. And again, it's increasingly important for businesses to be on Instagram. The same goes for TikTok. It's probably viewed right now, it's for a younger generation. It'll probably give it another 5 years. If it's still around in 5 years' time, it will be important for business to be on there. Same goes with Snapchat. When it first started, businesses were kind of shying away from it. Now I've seen more and more local businesses embrace Snapchat technology into their business. So they say, oh, snap this. If you're a restaurant, take a snap of the food, enter a competition. So the same goes for business to B2C. Okay. Again, with B2C, the first impression people have, you need to be on a certain platforms. Again, the main sort of challenges for businesses is how did they, with so many platforms, how would they cope with so many platforms? Okay. The way I would say that is be on YouTube, be on Twitter, be on Facebook, but at the same time, have the right people managing those campaigns. So it's like driving a machine and let the social media machine work for you. It's open to debate. So I would be interested in what the panel thinks of this, Hassan and Aulia, in regards to B2C being relevant for certain platforms, B2B. How would you guys sort of, what's your sort of view on this?
Yeah, for me, I mean, you can always like have an ads of your B2B business on B2C platform, quote unquote, right? Like Facebook or Instagram, because basically, like for me, I'm the CMO of my company, and I probably going to like your product that you targeted to me, but then you have to get in a way like my data first, that I would be interested in a way to your product, right? Like one of the ways maybe you can target my email and my lookalike, like market. If you have my email on your class, maybe, like your services, you create an online class for your services, and I sign up to your class, and you have my email, and then you can target me, right, directly on social media through ads, and then you can find someone like me, right? Like lookalike audience on Instagram and Facebook. And so for me, B2C and B2B, the person who's handling the like the campaign, or the one who's gonna buy your product, is actually on the same platform, I think. So in my opinion, it's not relevant where you're gonna need to be, but maybe you need to prioritize one or two specific social media. Yeah.
It's my turn.
And which for you is the most important? Like we're talking about priorities here.
Prioritizing when we're starting out, right?
Yeah, so when we're in a B2B business and we're starting out, like which are priorities? We understand that end consumers could be everywhere, but let's say what's the top grossing? What's the most beneficial for our brand? This is people that are starting businesses.
I don't know. Like for me, I think it depends on what your end goal is. If you just want to sell, I mean, just sell to anybody. If you want to sell to small. I'm a person of my conviction is in the B2B business. I've done a lot of B2C stuff, especially in the online business. It was B2C, but it was a lot more work. But when we're talking about B2B, you're talking about smaller fish, bigger fish, but a few. Instead of having, in order to survive, instead of having 1,000 customers a month, you can survive off of 10 or 20 customers a month in the B2B business. So that's like, to me, that's how I look at it. Instead of having to deal with the customer support, customer service, all the work that gets involved in the B2C kind of side of things, is not as beneficial if you just work on when you compare it to the B2B side of stuff. So yeah, I mean that's how I look at it. But prior to instead of just for somebody who's just starting out, I'd say you have to get experience, get your experience. Don't restrict yourself to one social network or anything. Just try to be out there as much, and you have to, as we like to call it, the hustle. You can have to go through the hustle so you can actually learn, because nobody is going to teach you whatever courses you take or whatever you do. Nothing's going to teach you better than actual experience.
Okay.
Yeah, actually experiment with things, right? Experiment always, right? What we call A/B testing, and then try from LinkedIn, for example, and then you do the same campaign, LinkedIn and Instagram and LinkedIn, and see the result, and then try Facebook with the same campaign as well, and then you decide, right, which platform get the better results, and then you decide to prioritize one or two from that.
Okay, so there's no secret option and secret formula to be successful online. Let's say you have to try yourself and see, depending on your goals and your strategy and what's your end goal is, which one works for you and on which channel is engaging more for your business. And there's another question that is coming at us, like, do we need to use paid advertising? And I know Manny is the man to talk to when it comes to paid Facebook ads. So Manny, what do you think? It's like, what's the cost? I've been to Manny's class. So just to let you know, guys, I've been to Manny's class, I don't know, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I don't remember. I think it's 3 years ago. And I learned so much about the cost per click and, the conversion rates and all the stuff that I didn't know back then. We thought on social media, you have to be there just to be there, because if you're not there, they're going to forget about you. But actually, you can sell on social media and you can sell digitally. And Manny can give us some tips. So why paid advertising, and how? What's the best strategies? What's your hacks? What's your insights?
Well, essentially, first of all, it's what really Hassan said at the start. It's what depends on your end goal. Now, the question is, should you use paid advertising? Again, it depends on your business. It depends on what revenue is your business generating. What type of customers do you serve? If you have an e-commerce business, for example, is paid advertising important? Then the answer is yes, because you are in a business to sell products and services either to businesses or consumers. So with paid advertising, I mean, you've got Google AdWords, you've got Facebook advertising. It's so important nowadays to be on there and to communicate your message to more people. I mean, in terms of you can even start from a $500 budget on paid ads. But from what I do now is I always recommend starting from have at least $700 to $1,000 a month on paid ads. Now, going back to your end goal, if your goal is to generate leads, so name, email, phone number, every single day, Facebook advertising, all you got to do is throw up a quick an ad and focus on generating leads, quality leads. Now this is very important. If you're using paid advertising, the question that you need to ask yourself, very important, is how much can I afford to spend to acquire one customer? Okay, so that means is how much are you willing to pay to acquire one customer? One customer could mean that customer spends $997, that customer spends $2,000. I mean, for example, hair transplant people who services who offer to give hair transplants to people. The order value of one customer is about $2,000 to $3,000. So they can afford to spend $100, $200 to acquire one customer. It all depends again on your goal, what your goal is, leads, sales. If people say I want to use paid advertising, okay, then I say to them, what's the business generating at the moment? What is your goal? Is your goal to generate leads, get people to your website? Is your goal to get people to opt in? So each time you have to have a paid campaign, have a goal behind it. Is it branding? Is it leads? Is it going to be sales? And Hassan is probably familiar with Google AdWords, and he probably agrees. You have to have that goal in mind before you create a paid campaign. Because I always say, have that goal, and then you've got a strategy behind the paid campaign.
Hassan,
yeah, exactly.
Is directing the question too about Google AdWords and like the goals for a company that it is new to this and that we want to help through this webinar. What's the first step? Do they have to have a person in their team? Do they have to hire a company that does that for them? How can you help the company be successful on online digital marketing in general?
Okay, so if we're talking about digital marketing in general, and it depends on what the company wants to do exactly. I mean, because when we say digital marketing, for me, that's a whole world. And within it, there's a lot of other worlds that are big in and of themselves. If you talk about Facebook ads alone, that's a world on itself. If you talk about SEO, that's a specialization. If you talk about paid ads, even just saying paid traffic is you're opening a whole chest of a lot of things. So hiring someone, I mean, instead of for it not to seem daunting and confusing for a lot of people, you might want to just hire a consultant, somebody who's already been doing it for years, so that they can actually work on a strategy with you, and then you'll take it from there. For a local business, if you're a bakery, for instance, and you want to attract a lot more customers, the basic thing is just, I mean, from my experience, because I've been in the business for a long time, I know exactly what they need to do. So I would sit down and tell them, okay, so here's what you need to start with. You don't actually have to spend money on a website, not to spend money on developing a website or anything like that. You can just work off of social media, and the money that you're going to spend is going to have to be spent on getting the word out, spreading the word, paying influencers out there, doing a little bit of paid ads here on social media as well, and just getting the word out. And as Manny said, just building a brand in your local market right there. And just for any business, they have to have a clear strategy from day one, and without actually getting confused, because this is branching out into something bigger and bigger and bigger. That's because every aspect of our life is being online now. That's why you have to have specialized advice about your specific needs. And again, in terms of hiring someone, I know I'm biased, but I always say either work with a consultant, you can actually work with in an agency, and you have to do your due diligence. And thank God for the internet, because you can do due diligence online and not waste a lot of time. You can go to a lot of review websites, the review agencies, and you can actually sit down with. So it's not the starting steps are not, shouldn't really be too confusing. Sit down with somebody who already knows what they're doing, or she already knows what they're doing, and take it from there, step by step. And you have to have your story behind it. You have to have your brand behind it. You have to have your identity behind it, because you can't just go out there and copy what everybody else is doing. Because if you do that, I don't think you're going to go very far in the business.
Okay. I hear you loud and clear. The right partner, and you need a good strategy on that. Moving on, because this is like basic, and I know that there's a lot coming up soon. We're at the Food E-Show, during our sessions, we're talking about virtual reality, we're talking about augmented reality, we're talking about different artificial intelligence in how to boost your business and take it to the next level. How do you see these technologies on social media, on digital marketing in general for the future? And would it be costly? Would it be more return on investment? So how do you classify them?
Shall I answer that?
Can you hear me? Did you hear me?
I think you're breaking up.
So let me repeat. I said during the Food E-Show conferences, we're talking about different ways on using digital and a lot of technologies that are available in the market. Artificial intelligence is available, virtual reality, augmented reality. They're all technologies that are now available, and they're now proven to help in the business. How would you think these technologies with the digital marketing would be integrated, and what's the best return on investment?
The great thing about using new technology, it's all about standing out. When I go on my newsfeed, I'm always looking for companies and ads that are standing out. So one of my favorite sort of ways to embrace the technology is to sort of utilize the different tools that are available, whether that's through imaging apps or video apps that allow you to do that. And so, for example, if you're talking about augmented reality, where you have apps and then you can sort of use your phone and sort of point your phone and the camera, and it just sort of brings up everything to life. You can sort of use that to sort of promote your brands. I mean, I've come across some ads online where, like, for example, shoe companies, the user can select the different types of shoes, how they would look on a person. You can actually go into a store today with your phone in a store, and companies who are using augmented reality will ask you to point your phone at a jacket, and they will see how that jacket looks on you through the augmented reality. So I think it's so important to sort of embrace these technologies and sort of use them in such a way that your brand would stand out. And again, it all depends on whether your company is going to be a good fit to use this technology. So, for example, let's say if you're just a local business and you want to use this technology, you gotta have that user experience in mind. What is the end goal? And I'm seeing more and more ads on social media where user experience is the main sort of the main sort of concept behind what they're trying to say. And Facebook itself, it actually rewards you through clicks. It rewards you through engagement if you have that user experience in mind. Now, the way I see it is, I think we're going to see more and more holograms in the future to sort of promote products and services. Now, when Hassan said we should be in 2025 now, because obviously everything is so, sophisticated in technology. I've even seen speakers hologram speakers appear on stage and being broadcast on Facebook Live. Now, if you asked me 10 years ago that, using your smartphone, we could go on Facebook Live, I would say, that's crazy. But now people can just broadcast themselves live from anywhere in the world just using a phone. Now, imagine what it would be like in 5 years' time when we have holograms and augmented reality. I can just see ads popping out from your desktop, from your phone, and the user will project them on the ceiling. It's just a great way to sort of broadcast your message. So, from my view, I think it's good, and at the same time, it needs to be used efficiently rather than just blow your budget thinking you want to become, you want to stand out. It has to be used in such a way that it's going to bring you that ROI at the end of the day.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
Thank you, Manny.
Yeah,
Go, Ollie.
I guess for me, the future, no, not the future, but it's already here right now. I think the one thing that is most important is the hyper personalization that can come out of the AI and machine learning, right? Like for example, in my website, in my company, like we aim to try to give people the kind of books that they really love to read, right? And that's where the conversion rate would get higher, because we keep feeding our readers and our audiences something that they really want to read, based on the history, or maybe the things that they browse before and stuff, right? So I think the most important part of the technology is the hyper personalization. Yeah.
Okay. That's very important, because at the end, if I heard you guys right, since the beginning, you're talking about your end user, and what your end user wants. Because preaching to the wrong crowd, obviously you're not gonna get the best return on investment. So the end user is always to think about, and how to improve the user experience, whether you are on Facebook, you are on your website, you are on your application, on your altogether strategy. Um, uh, we have questions, but I think we're going to take one more, because we're almost done. And there's one that says, what's the right method when you go international and you have different type of markets? So let's put that one. Is what are the right methods to use when you have an international audience and not one audience?
Is that going to
Any
be using
answers?
Facebook advertising, or is it going to be organically? If you're very quickly, if you're going to be using Facebook, you have options to sort of show your message to the world. If you're going to be using, if you're going to take, if you have an international audience, you can sort of consider showing your message in different languages. Now, Facebook ads as a platform, it allows you to show your ads in different languages. There's actually websites out there that where you can hire people to create your ads in different languages, and I've tried it myself, and the engagement is really good. Okay, so you can actually show your ads in different languages, different videos, different audios. I don't know what the panel thinks of this, but that's what my experience is, sort of using different sort of languages in ads. So over to you guys.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you do that as well? Do you have an international audience, Olaya?
No. We are right now focusing on local audience, but then
Oli?
yeah, the things that Manny has already mentioned are correct. Yeah, but I haven't done that for my own company. We are focusing on
Okay.
local. Yeah.
Hassan, do you have something to add to international audience and how probably you said earlier local SEO and you said general SEO, if you want to elaborate on that?
Okay. For SEO, in terms of like organic growth, the good thing is there's only one way to do it, is having a website and having content on that website. Whether you want to have one website in one language, let's say in English, that's going to be easier because that's the language that's mostly used by people all over the world. Or if you have a Spanish speaking website, if you want to expand into Latin America or Spanish speaking countries. I mean, it depends on the language. Again, it gets a little bit complicated if you go into different languages. The question is, do you want to have one website with a lot of languages on it? Because that's going to be a little bit confusing. Or you want to have completely separate domains. You can have copycats of the website, but one could be .com, one could be .es for Spain, one could be .fr for French. You want to have like, it depends on how what you want to do. So if you just want to have an international audience that speaks English, that makes it easier than just one website in a .com domain name, and have as much have as much content related to what the audience is looking for. So that's what we do in our agency, is we work on the keywords, the content that people are looking for, and we optimize for that content. So we have these tools that we use that tell us what people are using, and then we optimize for that content and create content that people are looking for, and that's how it helps us grow internationally.
So we are already at 1 hour. Thank you guys very much for your input, for your insight, and for sharing all the information with our viewers. Before we leave you, I want you to go and say one word at the end that is your must for our audience when it comes to marketing and social media. Like one, if you have one advice to give them, and I'll start with Oli.
Understand your user's persona. Like who's your audience? Understand your audience is most important for me. Yeah.
Great. Manny?
I would go for mindset. Having the correct mindset before you basically create a campaign, do an SEO campaign or a website, anything. Have the right mindset, because that will be the difference between, a successful campaign or a successful digital marketing strategy.
Okay, thank you. Hassan?
For me, that would be having correct or adjusting your expectations. You have to do your due diligence before you start anything, whatever it is, it's ad campaign or website or whatever you want to do. You have to have the correct expectations. Do not expect your website to bring you thousands and thousands of visitors or customers just from that. I mean, you have to have the correct expectations when you go into this. Be realistic, in other words.
Great. Thank you, guys. Great advice. And I would like to thank you all for taking the time. I know it's midnight in Indonesia. It's about 5 p.m. in Manchester.
Yeah.
And Hassan, where are you based?
I'm in Rabat.
Hassan?
I'm in Rabat, but right now I'm in Essaouira right now. So just on vacation.
Oh, enjoy. Wonderful. So we, for this show, and since we're using digital marketing and we're experimenting as well, we would like to have a coupon with 20% off being an exhibitor at the show. And all you do is go to our website, thefoodeshow.com, and use the coupon. It's valid for 24 hours if you want to book your booth with us. And thank you all for taking the time to answer our questions. We'll see you on the 8th and the 9th on our web and mobile app. Until then, I say thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.